Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're someone who tracks your life really closely, sleep, steps, projects, all that, you get that it's more than just a list, right? It's not just checking boxes.
Exactly. It's almost like treating life like your own personal experiment
Yeah,
and a detailed weekly review.
yeah.
That goes way beyond just, keeping yourself accountable.
It's more like a discovery tool.
The ultimate self-discovery tool,
Yeah.
really. It shows you these connections you wouldn't normally see.
hmm
These sort of invisible links between, say, how much or what you actually managed to get done.
Okay, so that's our mission today then. We're diving into one specific review, week 40, ending October 5th, 2025. And we're really going to rip through it, looking for those key nuggets, those surprising insights.
That's the plan. Extract actionable knowledge fast.
Right.
And we're focusing on two main areas. First, the foundation, proactive health and wellness.
Okay.
And second, the output, projects and hobbies.
hmm
Where the skills and accomplishments happen. Makes sense. Foundation first. So let's get into the body data.
Let's do it.
All right, starting with sleep. This seems like a big win this week. The average daily sleep jumped up to 7.29 hours. That's up from, 6.71 the week before?
Yeah, a really significant improvement, finally hitting that 7-hour target consistently.
Which is huge. Consistency is gold there.
It absolutely is. But the really fascinating part here is why, we always talk about sleep hygiene, quiet rooms, no screens.
Right, the standard advice.
But the best sleep they recorded this week, it wasn't after some perfect wind down. It was after 5 straight hours of really heavy gardening work in the front yard.
5 hours. Seriously, just pure physical work.
Yeah, real sustained effort, exhaustion, basically.
Huh. But wait, isn't the rule usually not to do intense exercise right before bed?
Yeah.
Like it raises your core temperature and stuff?
Well, yes, for planned, maybe shorter bursts of exercise, but this speaks to something else. Genuine physical depletion. When your body is just truly, deeply tired from hours of labor, that drive for recovery seems to override everything else. Ah, I see. So the body's need for repair just takes over.
Exactly. That intensity led to falling asleep fast and critically really high quality rest.
Wow. Okay, that's a powerful insight. Sometimes you just need to be properly worn out.
It seems so. Now, looking deeper into the data, they did mention still feeling drowsy sometimes because of medication they were on.
Right.
But this is important. They didn't have fragmented sleep. No waking up in the middle of the night for long periods.
So despite the medication side effect, the sleep itself was solid, continuous.
Correct. And this is where the review sets up a really interesting personal experiment for them going forward. They noted the medication schedule is changing in the coming week.
Ah, so a variable is being removed.
Precisely. So the question becomes,
Mhm.
will this great sleep quality continue? Will it maybe even get better once that medication changes?
That's the beauty of tracking, isn't it? You turn life changes into testable hypotheses.
You nailed it.
Okay, so moving from rest to activity, steps look good too. High activity maintained. Average was 6,905 steps a day, up from 6,390.
Yep. Hitting that baseline 6,000 daily goal consistently.
And they even hit the stretch goal, 8,000 steps, 3 times that week.
Yeah, October 1st, 3rd, and 4th. Consistency is definitely there. But here's probably the most practical takeaway for anyone using a fitness tracker. They found something really crucial about pedometer accuracy looking back.
Oh, what was that?
Well, they realized that sometimes hours of work, like that gardening or other chores,
Mm.
frustratingly logged 0 steps.
Ouch. Imagine doing all that work and your tracker gives you no credit. That's rough.
Totally demoralizing.
Mm.
But they figured out why and found a fix.
Mm.
It was about placement.
Placement.
Yeah. They'd noticed before that activities with a lot of vibration, like riding a motorcycle,
Mm-hmm.
could actually add false steps if the pedometer was upright, vertical.
Okay.
So the solution they found, and this is clever, was to place the pedometer horizontally.
Horizontally. And that worked.
Perfectly. It stopped tracking steps during the motorcycle rides, confirming the orientation mattered for vibration, and presumably placing it horizontally during chores helped capture movement better, or at least stop false negatives. The key was figuring out the orientation issue.
So understanding how the tool actually works and adjusting how you use it, not just blindly trusting the numbers.
Exactly. It's about actively managing your data collection,
Yeah.
knowing the hardware's quirks. That's a vital skill for any self-experimenter.
Definitely a killer insight there. Good tip. We should also quickly mention they started a new habit, 1 to 5 wall push-ups daily.
Yeah, starting small. Building that consistency,
Big smart.
slow and steady, right? Now let's connect all this, the activity, the sleep, to weight and metabolism, because the data here is Well, it's surprisingly stable.
Stable? How stable?
Started the week at 68.35 kilos, ended the week at 68.35 kilos, dead flat.
Wow.
The daily average was 68.16 kilograms, which is like a tiny fraction up from the week before, but basically, yeah, stable.
Okay, but that stability is actually the surprising part, isn't it?
Given the context.
That's the headline, exactly.
Yeah.
Because intermittent fasting was paused, right, for nearly a month due to that medication.
Right. And they mentioned eating outside food more often, too, like a 2.1:1 ratio. I'd expect some fluctuation from that.
We too.
Yeah.
But this is the key finding, the thing that ties this whole section together. The review strongly suggests this stability isn't really about the diet this week. It's about the sleep.
So the consistent high-quality sleep allowed the body to handle the dietary changes better.
That seems to be the realization. The body found its balance through better recovery, better sleep.
That's fascinating. It really elevates the importance of sleep, maybe even above strict diet rules for metabolic health, at least in the short term.
It certainly suggests sleep is a foundational pillar. And it led them to ask a really interesting question in the review.
Which was?
Could this period of stability, despite the dietary changes, mean that their metabolism has actually finally normalized or improved over the long haul? Like, maybe the baseline metabolic rate is higher now after months of tracking and effort.
Exactly. Maybe the body's just better regulated now. It's an exciting hypothesis to carry forward into future weeks.
Okay, so that's a really strong picture of the physical foundation. Sleep seems key. Let's shift gears. Segment 2. Where did all that energy go? Projects, hobbies, the mental output.
Right. And it seems like it went into some pretty focused efforts.
We see the usual writing routine posts about gardening, fish keeping, dieting, and they're still using that Notebook LM tool to generate audio summaries of their thoughts. That's a neat trick.
Yeah, forces you to articulate things clearly. But the output this week wasn't just routine. There was one standout session, hours of continuous writing about a big gardening discovery.
Hours, just focused on one thing.
Yeah. And it resulted in a post they tagged as a favorite. It shows how sometimes a deep insight you gain while writing can just unlock this amazing creative flow.
So it's not just documenting, it's that the act of writing itself generated the insight and the energy.
Precisely. The discovery fueled the writing, which deepened the discovery. A positive loop.
Cool. Now, speaking of intense focus, coding, what was happening there?
A lot of activity, actually. Hopping around GitHub, submitting pull requests.
Mostly small fixes, typos, and things.
Yeah, seems like it. Across a bunch of different languages, too. Go, Python, Elixir, Erlang, Rust.
Wow, that's quite a mix. Shows commitment to keeping skills sharp across the board.
It does. But the really interesting learning came from refactoring their own projects.
Okay, based on suggestions they found. Standard practice, right?
Well, yes and no. They followed suggested approaches, did extensive refactoring. But the kicker is, the real learning came because some of those suggestions were actually bad. Some even crashed the program.
Wait, so they learned more because the advice failed? How does that work?
Think about it. If a suggestion works, you learn one specific way to do something. Fine. But if it fails, especially if it crashes things, you're forced to dig way deeper.
You have to understand why it failed.
Exactly. You end up learning about underlying mechanics, memory allocation, pointer issues, stuff you'd never touch if the easy fix had just worked. Failure demands understanding.
That's painful, but yeah, super effective learning. You have to truly own the problem and the solution. Learn why things work, not just how.
Precisely. Critical thinking over just following steps.
Okay, powerful lesson there. Let's circle back to the hobby that started all this, the gardening. The 5 hours of work.
Right, the source of the great sleep.
Yeah.
So, refurbishing the front yard, dealing with seedlings, planting coleus, transplanting portulaca.
Busy weekend, and clearly paid off for sleep.
It did. And it also yielded a super practical, high-value lesson for anyone who gardens or keeps houseplants.
Okay, what's the tip?
Pest prevention. The crucial lesson was, before you move any plant, bringing one home, moving one inside, even taking a cutting, inspect the bottom of the leaves thoroughly.
The undersides, why they're specifically.
That's where pests like mites and aphids love to hide. So inspect carefully, and if you see anything, wash the leaves completely before relocating the plant.
The preemptive strike. A couple of minutes of inspection saves you potentially weeks of battling an infestation later.
Exactly. Highest form of low-effort, high-impact maintenance.
Yeah.
Saves so much future hassle.
Excellent, really practical advice. Okay, before we wrap up, quick checks on other areas.
Sure, cooking was kept simple, regular miso noodle soup, soft-boiled eggs, Consistency wins there.
Easy and reliable.
Meditation was also consistent. Short sits, but also integrating longer walking meditations, especially, interestingly, while raking leaves.
Oh, nice. So that yard work wasn't just physical, it was maybe mindful too.
Seems like it. Combining chores with presence, home improvement stuff is still pending curtains, drawer, grout.
Always something on the list.
And fish keeping is steady, regular feeding, topping up water. Still looking for more guppies for the outdoor ponds. Routine maintenance there.
Got it. So looking at this whole week, this review, it really does paint a picture of how interconnected things are.
It really does. You can draw clear lines. The intense gardening.
Leads to amazing sleep.
Right. And that consistent quality sleep.
Seems to stabilize weight even when the diet changes a bit.
Exactly. And then a simple habit learned in the garden, checking under leaves.
Prevents huge problems down the line. It all connects.
And that's the value, isn't it? These reviews aren't just logs. They're data. Evidence you can use for critical thinking. They help you answer those personal what-if questions about how your own habits actually affect each other.
That's really the core message we want you, the listener, to take away today.
Yeah. We saw questions pop up right in this review. Will the sleep stay good after the medication changes? Has the metabolism really improved? Those questions now guide what to watch next week.
So thinking about that, here's the final thought for you to consider. If this kind of detailed tracking lets someone pinpoint and test their own variables like this, what's the most pressing what-if you have about your own life right now?
Yeah, think about that. Forget some huge, complex new plan for a second. Could you pick just one specific measurable thing to start tracking this week? Maybe it's when you eat your meals or when you feel most creative, or, like we saw here, how intense exercise right before bed really affects your sleep.
Choose one thing, something that helps you start answering a fundamental question you have about your health, your learning, your productivity.
Turn your guess into a data point. Start your own experiment.